This is the 2025 BMW X5 M Competition, and it offers the perfect balance of performance and luxury. Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visiinary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this X5 from a friend of mine, so I can't tell you that there's a link down in the description of the video to the dealership's website. But if this is something you're looking for, I'm sure you can go to your local dealership and find one, or you can spec it out online because there are some nifty things you can add or change depending on your personal preferences. The thing that makes BMW different from Mercedes-Benz, if you're comparing the two, is that Mercedes-Benz is more focused on luxury, although you can have performance. When it comes to BMW, it's more about performance than it is about luxury, but you still have both to a great degree, but the performance is the main thing. When we take a look here at the front end, you're going to have your full LED lighting. That shouldn't be any surprise, but it is here. Full LED headlights, daytime running lights. Everything here is also going to be functional. You can see all of the vents, the upper and the lower grille. You're going to have your double kidney grille here. And obviously, you're going to have your X5M logo right here on the front end. As far as your tire and wheel setup go, you will find 21-inch wheels. Now, when it comes to braking, this model has a braking system, and I apologize for the beeps. That's just because I have the remote in my pocket, so that's going to happen a little bit. We'll try and ignore that. But you have a specific braking system that is designed for the 617 horsepower output of this model. 15.6-inch rotors in the front, 15 inches in the rear. We're going to have the multi-piston brake calipers, and you can either get them in red, as we see right here, which I think is the better option. Some of you might want to go for the black, get a little bit more of a blacked out stealthy look, which would definitely look nice, that's for sure, but I do prefer the red because it really pops. Now, we're going to have our turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors. Boy, was that right on cue. I'm not even pushing any buttons, but it's working for me. Heated, power adjustable, and let me do one more thing here. I'm going to push the button right here, and you'll see that they're also going to be power folding. That is a feature that I know a lot of you are very much interested in. Here is your remote. A very racy looking remote, we'll say, with the colors on it. Obviously you can lock, unlock, do all the things you expect to do with the remote, or the key fob as some people like to call it. And as we work our way here to the rear, once again, we're going to find our LED lighting with the taillights, and everything just looks so typical of a BMW. I really like that. You've got the animation that takes place just like we did with the front lights, the headlights up there. Overall, a very aggressive look. You do have the exposed rear window wiper right here, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. I know a lot of people like to see that concealed away in the rear roof spoiler. But if this is something you plan to buy, you're not so concerned about the positioning of the rear wiper. You're more concerned about what produces the exhaust out of the quad tip exhaust that we have here on the rear. And something that I love when it comes to ease and convenience, when you pull on the release on the interior to open the hood, you pull on it twice and you don't have to look for a hood latch. That is nice and convenient. And who wouldn't want to show off the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 that puts out a neck-snapping 617 horsepower, 553 pounds-feet of torque. It does have mild hybrid assist, which is part of what gives it those numbers. And a lot of the time, I know we don't like to see the covers right here. However, I think that cover is tastefully done. It looks nice, it actually works, and it's not too big. All of that's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and you will find that you have all-wheel drive to help in putting all of that horsepower to the ground. And I know most owners are not going to care, but somebody is going to ask in the comments section if I don't mention the MPGs. Here they are, 13 city, 18 highway, and 15 combined. And obviously this monster is going to suck down a lot of gas. Definitely going to run the premium gasoline. And you're looking at a 21.9-gallon gas tank. And as far as practical use goes, if you want to tow with this particular X5, you can tow up to 7,200 pounds. Cargo capacity will range between 33.9 up to 72.3 cubic feet. You will have your cargo lighting here in the area back here where you need it after dark, and you'll have a 12-volt power outlet. And something that will bring some peace of mind is what is found right here under the floor. That's going to be your spare tire, and there's all of the tools you need to change it if you ever do. Hopefully you won't, but it's much better than having a tire repair kit. And your rear seat passengers are going to find nice large armrests and door bins, high-end materials here, but everything looks performance oriented as it should. You will find our panoramic sunroof and the rear seat pockets on the back of the driver and passenger front seats. We'll find our climate control right here, and you'll also find everything to control the climate control, your third and fourth zones of climate control. Now you only have the heated seats back here. Would love to have ventilated, but not in this case. And we'll find more connectivity, another 12 volt and a couple of USB options. And no, you cannot change the recline of the seat backs. There is recline built into the seat backs, however, but you can't adjust that. And we're going to find our cup holders right here, neatly concealed away. And there is a reasonable amount of space here as far as using this for an armrest. We'll also find a little bit of space within that area too. And one more thing I wanted to make sure I cover that I didn't talk about earlier, and that is the fact that you have the soft closed doors. You make sure I make that work. There we go. Now I can show you that it's there on the front and the rear doors. Now, while this is a 2025 model, it actually is used, lightly used, we'll say. The sticker price when the owner bought it was $105,590. Let's see what else you get for that price. You're going to find a lot of carbon fiber, and it's hard to see, but there is a decent amount of ambient lighting throughout the interior. You will have your X5M logo here in the headrest. And again, the very sporty seats, they look very nice, very comfortable, power adjustable with all the features you expect to find. And you can see what you're doing when you adjust the seats, as you can see right there. You will find that the seats are heated and ventilated. You will also find your heated steering wheel right there. Don't need that today. We're still going to be in the 90s here in Northwest Louisiana. There's your heated, there's your ventilated functionality. That's going to be on both the driver and passenger seats. And they're also massage seats. So you're going to control that here, depending on what you want to do with that. And all of your typical controls you expect to find as far as your windows and mirror controls and all that good stuff. You will also use the control right here to adjust your power adjustable tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And you have the carbon fiber shifter paddles right here, so you can work your way back and forth through the 8-speed automatic transmission, and quite a few different driving mode options, which is nothing surprising. In fact, we can take a look at what some of those are right here. You can go into your M mode if you want to do that. A lot going on here, a lot of adjustments you can make. You can see what's going on with the screen. You're going to know what's going on when you look up there. As far as that goes, we can go right here and go from road to sport to track. And that's definitely something that would be a lot of fun. You can track this model. That's where those brakes come in, as I talked about, meant to handle the 617 horsepower. Overall, a very racy, sporty look throughout the interior. Like I said, it's more focused on performance than it is on luxury, but you do have a nice balance of both. Here is your upper console. You can use the control right here to open and close the sunroof and the shade. That sunroof will open this front portion, as you can see right there. We'll just do that real quick just to show you what's going on where that's concerned and not spend too much time on it. And you're going to have your wireless charging, USB connectivity, another 12 volt will be right here in addition to your cup holders. Now, if you happen to not want to touch the screen with your fingers, not get any fingerprints on there, well, you can. This is what all of the controls are for right here. If you want to go to map, you can go home just like that and see what's going on. There are so many things you can do. It makes it very simple. You can see that I can select what I want to right there, and then we can go in and work with different features and functionality. Obviously, you're going to have your backup camera and multiple camera views all around this model. That's no surprise, but you can see everything that we have here as far as that goes. If you need the car wash view, there's your car wash view. We can go to 3D view again right there and see what's going on with this model. Quite a few features that make it so easy to get around. Not that this is a difficult vehicle to drive. It's not so big that it is, but you can also go and take a look at different camera views. Depending on where you need to see, you can literally see everywhere that you need to look all around this BMW. And you'll find things such as your power parking brake right here. And then we have our Bombay doors. We can open those up and see some of our space, storage space, another USB option right there. You'll have space within the glove box and larger door bins and armrests than we saw on the rear. But the real trick here, the real fun part, is getting out on the road and finding a place where there's not a lot of traffic so we can have a little fun. All right, we're gonna try a 0 to 60 here and see what happens. That's a good punch in the gut right there. That's a fact. I'm not sure what the numbers were, but hopefully I got a good reading from the Draggy. That's the first time I've used it in a really long time. But I'll tell you what, it definitely took off really trying to pick the front end up off the ground, which obviously is not going to happen with all-wheel drive. But I'll tell you what, it definitely does a great job of letting you know that you are not short on power. Great handling, that goes without saying, and a great exhaust note. And those brakes do work very well. As I mentioned earlier in the video, specifically tuned for 617 horsepower to handle what this X5 is putting out. And beyond just being so much fun to drive with superb handling, you have a comfortable interior. The seating is very comfortable, plenty of headroom, a lot of adjustability built in for the driver up here between the steering wheel and the driver's seat itself. So anybody of pretty much any height should be able to be comfortable and enjoy driving, be able to see just fine. It is easy to see out of, by the way. That's always nice to know. These windows are large and easy to see out of. It's easy to manage brake and gas pedal, and I'll tell you what, if you want to, you can use these shifter paddles to work your way back and forth through your 8-speed automatic transmission. And I know I didn't spend as much time in this video as I often do on the technology, but it's not challenging to learn or use. It may look like it, but it really isn't. You can use what I like to refer to as the hunt and peck method when it comes to this BMW. So one more little exhaust note before we end the test drive. There's nothing like it. And there it is, the 2025 BMW X5. It's the perfect balance of performance and luxury. If you want them in that order, BMW is definitely the direction you need to go. Would like to say a special thanks to my friend who let me borrow his X5 for the day so I could tell you all about it and take you out on a test drive. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And please share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. If you'd like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.